When daylight slowly retreats and the last rays of the sun slip behind the horizon, forests around the world don't fall silent. The way many people imagine they transform. As the night settles in, something ancient and mysterious begins to stir between the trees. It's a different world, a gentle one, moving slowly under the watch of the moon. Every rustle has a deeper meaning, every shadow has a softer purpose, and every creature follows a rhythm older than human memory. This is the enchanted hour when forests inhale, exhale, and shift into their dream state, becoming the largest sleepy ecosystem on Earth. If daytime forests feel alive, nighttime forests feel aware, listening, breathing, and glowing with secrets that only appear when the world becomes quiet enough to notice. As you step into a nighttime forest, even in your imagination, the first thing you sense is the coolness. It isn't harsh. It's like a blanket of calm air settling around your shoulders. The trees release the warmth they store during the day, and the ground cools just enough to bring a comforting stillness. Your footsteps soften as moss absorbs the tiniest vibrations. The aroma of damp leaves, pine resin, and earth becomes stronger as the darkness deepens. It's as if the forest knows that night requires softness, and everything adjusts accordingly. Sounds become lower, movements slower, and even the wind seems to drift like a whisper instead of a rush. In this dim world, your eyes adjust, but not the way they do in your room at night. Here, darkness is layered. It's not empty blackness. It's a living mixture of shadows, moonlight, silver outlines of branches, and faint bioluminescent glows hiding inside the undergrowth. The moon becomes a silent lantern hanging above you, washing over the leaves with a soft, cool shine. Even the stars seem closer, as if the open sky framed between tall treetops brings them within reach. And as you breathe in the deep scent of the forest, something inside you settles too. The world at night doesn't rush. It invites you to slow down with it. It invites you to listen. That's where the sleepy facts begin, not in sudden events or dramatic changes, but in the gentle, rhythmic way forests transform when the sun goes down. These aren't facts meant to shock you. They're meant to soothe you, to ease your mind, to help you drift into the pace of a world that's alive but unhurried. So let the night unfold softly as we step deeper into the quiet of the forest and discover what happens. In these hours, when the rest of the world sleeps, the first sleepy fact appears long before the creatures of the night begin their slow rituals. It begins with the trees themselves, those ancient guardians standing tall through centuries of light and darkness. Fact 1 begins the moment the forest exhales. You might think trees only take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen during the day. But at night, something surprisingly gentle happens. Trees sleep, not in the way humans do, with dreams or deep unconsciousness, but with a slow shift in posture and activity that resembles the peacefulness of rest. Using highly sensitive scanning lasers, scientists discovered that many trees droop their branches by a few centimeters once darkness falls. It's subtle, almost impossible to notice with the naked eye. But for the trees, it's a nightly ritual and energy-saving mode, a time to lower their guard and soften. As photosynthesis shuts down with the disappearance of sunlight, trees reduce their water movement and begin conserving energy, letting their leaves rest from the intense work of the day. Some trees even fold their leaves slightly, almost like hands closing during sleep. This motion comes from changes in water pressure within the leaf cells, and the shift is so calming and slow, it feels like the forest is gently bowing. Imagine walking under a canopy where leaves tilt downward in a quiet, symmetrical pattern, lowering themselves like they're preparing for dreams. When dawn returns, the trees will lift their branches back up, as if stretching lightly after a long night as rest. This natural rhythm doesn't just give the forest a calm, sleepy feeling, it also helps trees regulate their internal systems, conserve moisture, and maintain health. Across decades and centuries, the entire forest sighs and settles, and the night officially begins. But as the trees relax into their nocturnal posture, a new layer of the forest awakens, not loudly, not aggressively, just in a slow, hushed emergence that fits the quiet of the dark. This leads us to the second sleepy fact, one hidden under the soil and rarely seen even by people who spend their lives studying forests. Fact 2 is about the glowing life beneath your feet. Many forests around the world contain fungi that shine faintly in the darkness, on ancient bioluminescence that creates tiny constellations on the forest floor. If you were to wander slowly through a nighttime forest in Brazil, Japan, or parts of the United States or Europe, and if your eyes were patient enough to adjust to the light, you might see small patches of emerald glow coming from logs, soil, or clusters of mushrooms. These are ghost fungi, honey fungi, jacko, lantern mushrooms, and dozens of other species that emit a gentle greenish light when the night becomes deep enough. Their glow isn't bright like fireflies. It's soft, like moonlight trapped in tiny buds. The bioluminescence comes from a chemical reaction inside the fungus, involving luciferin, luciferase, and oxyanda. Same type of glow fireflies use, but steadier and subtler. Scientists still debate why mushrooms glow. Some think the glow attracts insects that help spread spores. Others believe it's a protective signal, warning nighttime creatures not to eat them. And some suspect it's simply a leftover trait from ancient species that glowed millions of years ago. But for anyone wandering through the forest at night, the effect is mesmerizing. You might see faint dots of green scattered like sleepy stars on fallen logs, or a soft, ghostly shimmer beneath the leaves. Imagine kneeling down to get a closer look and seeing hundreds of minute glowing threads spreading through the wood-like veins of light, pulsing with the slow heartbeat of the forest. It creates an atmosphere of magic, yet it's nothing but nature following its quiet nighttime routine. These glowing fungi remind you that the forest never truly sleeps. It simply dims the lights, slows the pace, and lets only the softest forms of life shine through. As the night deepens and your ears begin to tune into the quiet rustles around you, something else joins the sleepy rhythm: an animal, so gentle and silent that most people go their entire lives without seeing one, especially after dark. That brings us to the third fact, where the quietest steps in the forest come from one of its most delicate inhabitants. Fact 3 belongs to the deer, creatures whose presence at night feels both peaceful and watchful. While deer are often seen during the day, many species are crepuscular or nocturnal, meaning their most active hours are dusk and night. The forest becomes their calm feeding ground once the sun disappears, and predators are less active. But what makes deer truly special at night is how silent they are. Their hooves, which might clack lightly on hard soil during the day, somehow produce almost no sound under the soft blanket of evening. They walk as if the darkness teaches them gentleness. Their vision, naturally adapted to low light, turns them into graceful silhouettes gliding between the trees, But the sleepiest part of this fact is the way deer rest. Unlike humans, deer don't lie down and fall into hours of deep sleep. Instead, they sleep lightly for only a few minutes at a time, often keeping their legs tucked under them and their heads raised. They remain half aware of their drifting in and out of sleep, like a candle flickering in a soft breeze. It's a form of survival, but it also gives the forest a strangely tranquil feeling, as if the deer themselves respect the calm of the night and refuse to break its rhythm. Sometimes a whole group of deer will rest together, arranged in a loose circle for safety, breathing softly in near unison. Their bodies rise and fall gently with each sleepy breath. And if you stand still long enough, you can almost imagine the forest breathing with them. Their ears twitch toward every distant sound, their silhouettes blending into the darkness, and their slow, rhythmic movements add a kind of lullaby to the nighttime forest. Even the moonlight seems to bend around them as they tilt their heads to feed on dew-kissed leaves. Watching them is like watching the forest's heartbeat steady, quiet, and endlessly patient. And so, the first 3 sleepy facts settle into the night just like the forest does, slowly, softly, each one adding another layer of calm. The trees lower their branches and rest. The glowing fungi begin their gentle luminescence. The deer drift in and out of their peaceful microsleeps. Together, they create a world where nothing feels rushed, nothing feels sharp, and everything seems to move with the quiet pulse of nature at rest. The night is still young, and as we venture deeper, more secrets will emerge slower, softer, and sleepier with each step. As you move deeper into the nighttime forest, the darkness changes its texture. It no longer feels like something you walk into. It feels like something that walks with you, beside you, between the trees, around your footsteps. The air cools slightly, not enough to chill you, but enough to remind you that nighttime belongs to creatures who prefer calm silence over motion and noise. The forest floor grows cushioned, padded with old leaves, soft soil, and fallen needles. Even your breathing begins to align with the slow rhythm of this place. And this is where our next sleepy fact gently rises out of the shadows, carried by the soft, rhythmic beat of wings. Fact 4 emerges from above, your head not loud, not sharp, just a faint flutter that sounds almost like the whisper of pages turning in a forgotten book. These are the wings of owls, the silent hunters of the night, whose flight is so quiet that even the air barely notices them passing through. Owls possess one of the most extraordinary adaptations in the natural world, feathers engineered by nature to silence the sound of flight. Unlike other birds, whose wings create a sharp rustling as they push against the air, owls glide as though the night itself carries them. Their feathers have tiny serrated edges that break turbulence into smaller, quieter currents. Soft, velvety, down further absorbs the remaining sound. The result is flight so silent that even the prey directly below them cannot hear their approach. If you stood under a low-hanging branch and an owl passed just a few feet above, you would feel nothing, no wind, no disturbance, just the faintest shift of darkness. Some naturalists call this ghost flight, not because it is frightening, but because it appears without warning and disappears just as softly. What makes this fact even sleepier is the way owls behave at night. They perch silently for long stretches of time, turning their heads with slow, deliberate motions, as if trying not to disturb the peaceful air around them. Their calls, instead of being jarring, echo softly through the tree's long hollow, soothing notes that blend into the nighttime atmosphere, like the bass line of a lullaby. Even their hunting style is patient and quiet. They listen for tiny movements in the underbrush, tilting their heads gently from side to side. Their enormous eyes reflect moonlight in a subtle silver shimmer. And when they finally descend, they do so with a calm precision that fits perfectly into the nighttime forest's unhurried pace. Owls do not just live in the night, they embody it. They move with its stillness, breathe with its softness, and remind anyone wandering beneath the trees that nighttime is not avoided as a carefully orchestrated world of slow, silent motion. As your eyes drift from the treetops back down toward the ground, you begin to notice another layer of nighttime life, one that doesn't fly or run or glow, but moves with a pace so gentle that it almost becomes part of the earth itself. This brings us to our next sleepy fact, one that travels not by wing or paw, but by delicate, measured steps. Fact 5 belongs to one of the most unhurried nighttime wanderers of the forest, the snail. When the darkness arrives and the temperature cools, snails emerge from hidden crevices, moist leaves, and shaded stones to begin their slow, nightly journey. What seems like random wandering is actually a carefully timed ritual. Snails avoid the heat and dryness of the day, so nighttime becomes their window of activity, their time to feed, explore, and glide across the quiet landscape. What makes snails especially perfect for a sleepy nighttime forest is their silence. A snail's movement has no rustle, no snap, no sound at all, except the nearly imperceptible slickness of its body gliding over the forest floor. Their pace fits perfectly into the rhythm of the night, steady, slow, and gentle. Some snails take several hours to travel a few meters, stopping often to rest or adjust their course. Their world is not measured in speed, but in patience. A fallen leaf becomes a whole landscape. A small patch of moss becomes a resting place. But there is a more magical part of this fact: the shimmer they leave behind. Under moonlight, the thin line of mucus that snails produce while traveling catches the faint silver glow, creating tiny, delicate trails that look almost like threads of starlight drawn across the ground. These glistening paths reveal the slow wanderings of snails through the night, mapping their quiet journeys in patterns as soft and curved as calligraphy. Some cultures even viewed these moonlit snail trails as signs of good luck or messages from nature. Ancient poets wrote about them as silver whispers, marks left by the earth to remind humans to move with more gentleness. Whether you believe in symbolism or not, there is something undeniably calming about watching a snail slowly glide along a log in perfect silence. Its only companion, the pale light of the moon filtering through the leaves. And while snails move slowly on the ground, above you, something else is happening. Something that feels like the forest breathing in a deeper way. Something connected to the air itself. This leads us to fact 6, a phenomenon that rarely crosses the minds of people who pass through forests during the day. Fact 6 reveals that the forest's air becomes chemically different at night. During daylight hours, trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. But at night, when photosynthesis pauses, the forest air subtly shifts. Trees continue to respire just like animals, taking in oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. This might sound alarming at first, but the shift is gentle, balanced, and part of a natural nightly cycle. The air at night becomes slightly cooler, slightly denser, and slightly richer in moisture. But the sleepiest part of this transformation is the scent. As humidity rises and the temperature drops, essential oils stored inside pine needles, leaves, and bark become more noticeable. This is why the forest smells stronger, deeper, and earthier at night. Some trees, especially pines, cedars, and eucalyptus, release terpenes that intensify and cool moist air. These compounds have calming effects on the human nervous system, slowing heart rate and helping the mind relax. In Japan, forest bathing, or Shinrin-yoku, often recommends early morning or evening walks because the psychological impact is stronger. When these scents are more concentrated in the darkness, the forest air becomes a natural sedative. The combination of cool temperature, increased humidity, and intensified tree aromas creates an atmosphere that feels almost therapeutic. Breathing deeply feels easier. Your body instinctively relaxes. Even birds and mammals respond to this shift, becoming quieter and more restful as the chemical signature of the forest tells them that nighttime has begun. This change in the air brings a dreamy quality to the forest, as though the trees themselves are exhaling the remnants of the day and preparing for their long, slow night of rest. It is a reminder that forests are not just collections of trees, but dynamic living systems that change with every hour. As you walk deeper into this soft, humid air, you might begin to hear something strange: quiet tapping, clicking, or rhythmic knocking that seems to come from nowhere in particular. At first, it might seem like raindrops, but the sky is clear. Then you might think it's branches rubbing together, but the pattern is too precise, and then it becomes clear. This is the language of the nighttime forest, spoken by creatures hidden beneath bark and leaves. Fact 7 introduces you to the subtle nocturnal symphony of insects. While daytime forests are alive with buzzing and chirping, nighttime insects use different techniques to communicate. Some beetles tap their heads or bodies against wood, creating faint drumming sounds. Certain moth species produce soft, almost inaudible clicks. Crickets slow down their chirps, turning their usual rhythm into a more drawn-out, soothing whisper. What is surprising is how organized these sounds can be, almost like a natural orchestra warming up for a slow, gentle song. In warm forests, some katydids chirp at a lower frequency at night, shifting their pitch to create a softer, more hypnotic sound. In tropical forests, leafhoppers create vibrations that travel through the ground or plants rather than through the air salient to human ears. But part of a complex nighttime conversation, these vibrations guide mating, territory disputes, and even warnings of predators. The forest at night is full of communication, but it is muted, softened, and spaced out. Instead of the energetic chorus of daytime, nighttime insects create a slow, intricate pattern of sounds that seem designed to lull the forest into a deeper state of calm. If you close your eyes, the tapping, clicking, and slow chirping blend into a rhythm that feels almost like breathing the forest's own quiet heartbeat. And as you move through this gentle soundscape, another creature quietly appears in the corner of your vision, floating like a feather through the dark, glowing just enough to let you know it's there without revealing too much. That brings us to the 8th fact, a sleepy marvel that many people associate with summer but rarely understand in full. Fact 8 belongs to the firefly, the tiny lantern of the nighttime forest. During the day, fireflies look like small, unremarkable beetles hidden under leaves. But when night falls, they become sparks of wandering light drifting between the trees. Their glow is one of the most efficient forms of light production on Earth. Nearly 100% of the energy used becomes light, with almost no heat wasted. This cold light is ideal for nighttime creatures, causing no disruption to the calm atmosphere. Fireflies flash for communication. Some patterns signal attraction, others signal territory. Some species synchronize their flashing so that entire groups blink on and off together like 1,000 tiny lanterns, breathing in unison. In certain forests in Southeast Asia, these synchronized displays create a phenomenon so magical that people gather just to watch the rhythmic pulse of the glowing trees. But the sleepest part of this fact is the life cycle of the firefly. Many adult fireflies do not eat at all. Their sole purpose during their glowing nights is to communicate, drift softly, find companionship, and quietly return to the earth. Their glowing patterns are gentle and slow, perfectly blending with the calm environment. Watching a firefly floating through the darkness feels like watching a dream drift across the forest floors. Delicate, temporary, and utterly peaceful. The glow of a single firefly might seem insignificant, but in a forest filled with them, the air becomes sprinkled with tiny lights that flicker like sleepy stars fallen from the sky. They drift through branches, settle briefly on leaves, then lift off again with silent wings. Their soft luminescence reminds you that even the smallest beings can bring beauty to the night. And so, the next layer of the forest's nighttime world reveals itself: fowls drifting silently overhead, snails tracing glistening trails underfoot, the forest air shifting into a calming perfume, insects creating quiet rhythms, and fireflies painting the darkness with gentle light. The night deepens, but the forest grows calmer, not darker. Each creature, each scent, each sound adds to the soothing tapestry of the nighttime woods, a world built from slow movement, patient rhythms, and whispering light. The deeper you drift into the nighttime forest, the more the boundaries between sound and silence begin to blur. Each step feels cushioned, each breath feels slower, and the world around you begins to soften into shapes and murmurs rather than sharp outlines. It is in this dreamlike stillness that the next layer of forest mysteries quietly emerges, not in the places you expect, but in the quiet corners where life breathes steadily, patiently, and often invisibly. Fact 9. Rises not from the treetops or the forest floor, but from something in between, something suspended in the dark air itself. If you pause long enough, you may notice that the nighttime forest has an unusual temperature pattern. Sometimes a patch of air feels cool against your cheeks, while a few steps later, the air becomes unexpectedly warmer. This subtle layering has a scientific explanation, one that adds yet another calming dimension to the nighttime woods. The 9th fact is, forest canopies trap warm air at night, creating soft temperature pockets that feel almost like invisible blankets. During the day, sunlight heats the forest floor and warms the vegetation. When night comes, that warmth does not disappear immediately. The thick canopy, composed of hundreds of overlapping leaves and branches, acts like an enormous insulated roof. Instead of letting heat escape into the night sky, the canopy slows its release. As a result, warm air rises from the ground, becomes trapped under the leafy ceiling, and forms gentle thermal pockets, areas that feel slightly warmer than theirs. If you stroll through a nighttime forest, you may suddenly pass through one of these warm patches. The shift can be subtle but comforting, like walking through a soft, invisible curtain. Small animals depend on these warm zones to conserve energy. Bats hover and use them as flight corridors. Moths drift gently through them, taking advantage of the stable temperature. Even some amphibians rest on low branches within these warm layers. Scientists call this effect a thermal inversion, but to someone walking through the forest at night, it feels more like the forest is quietly tucking you in, offering pockets of comfort to every creature willing to move slowly and gently through its darkness. It's almost as if the forest keeps a few warm breaths stored for the nighttime, releasing them in the calmest possible way. You continue walking, and gradually, the warm air fades back into coolness. But now you're aware that the temperature is not an accident, it is a lullaby of air, layered intentionally by nature to slow movement, soften breathing, and encourage rest. As you inhale this cool forest breath, something else catches your attention, something less visual, more emotional, more instinctive. The air carries a scent, faint but unmistakable. Damp wood, fresh earth, moss, and the sweetness of decaying leaves. This leads us to the next fact, one that lives quietly in the spaces between roots, soil, and air. This time, fact 10. The nighttime forest releases a special blend of earthy aromas that naturally calm the human nervous system. These aromas are created by organic compounds, jasmine from moist soil, terpenes from pine and cedar, and subtle scents from fungi breaking down fallen wood. But the magical part is how these scents behave after sundown. At night, humidity cooler temperatures slow the evaporation of these compounds, allowing them to linger closer to the ground. As you breathe, you take in more of these calming molecules, many of which naturally lower stress levels. It's not your imagination when a nighttime forest feels more soothing than a daytime walk. Research shows that certain forest aromas reduce cortisol, slow the heart rate, and even encourage deeper sleep. This is one reason people describe nighttime forests as grounding. The scents pull your awareness downward, away from scattered thoughts and toward the steady, patient world beneath your feet. The earth communicates at night. It speaks through scent. And if you listen closely, if you breathe in deeply, you'll feel that communication reaching you in ways words cannot. The ground has its own stories, crafted slowly through centuries of rain, roots, and decay. Those stories drift upward through the forest soil and wrap around you as gently as a blanket. As the air thickens with these calming scents, you notice another phenomenon, one not of smell or temperature, but of movement, subtle ripples of motion that appear and vanish at the edge of your vision. At first, they seem like tricks of the darkness, but then you realize they are real, alive, and numerous. Now, fact 11. Small mammals become surprisingly active at night, but they move with an instinctive softness that makes them almost ghost-like. Animals like deer mice, voles, shrews, and even tiny rabbits emerge only after the sky darkens. Their movements are quiet, cautious, and refined by thousands of years of avoiding predators. They do not run blindly or noisily. Instead, they glide through grass, slipping between shadows with a delicacy that seems almost intentional. If you stand still long enough, you might sense them before you see them, a faint disturbance in a nearby bush, the whisper-like rustle of leaves, or the subtle vibration of something tiny leaping onto a fallen log. Their presence adds warmth to the night. Even though they are cautious, they are not afraid. This is their time, their world. One of the most charming behaviors is how these small mammals pause frequently, standing still with their ears perked and their noses twitching. They listen, not for danger alone, but also for the soft, rhythmic cues of the nighttime forest itself. The silence, the distant chirp, the wind against the leaves, these sounds tell them the world is safe. In a nighttime forest, every creature has learned to move quietly so that the peace of the night is never broken. This softness of movement creates a shared calm one that ripples outward to every living thing in the forest, including you. As you observe these tiny animals, you might notice that the nighttime forest seems to glow in faint patches, not from moonlight, but from the forest floor itself. This brings us to the 12th fact, perhaps one of the most magical of all. Fact 12 is about some nighttime forests contain patches of bioluminescent fungi, glowing mushrooms that illuminate the darkness with their soft, greenish light. These rare mushrooms, often called foxfire, witchfire, or fairy fire, grow on decaying logs, tree stumps, and damp wooden surfaces. Their glow is faint, too soft to light a path, yet bright enough to be seen once your eyes adjust to the dark. The color is usually a gentle green, the same shade as old forest moss washed in moonlight. The glow comes from a chemical reaction involving luciferin, the same compound that lights up fireflies combined with oxygen. When the reaction occurs, the fungi emit a soft, steady light. They do not flicker or pulse. They simply shine quietly in the darkness, like tiny lanterns left by the forest. Standing near glowing mushrooms at night can feel surreal. The light is subtle, not strong enough to reveal details, but bright enough to suggest shapes and outlines. It gives fallen logs a mysterious presence, as though they are alive in their final stage of decay. In some old forests, entire logs seem to glow from within, creating the illusion that the earth itself is breathing light. For centuries, people have told stories about this phenomenon. Some believed the glowing logs were enchanted. Some thought spirits lived inside them. Sailors once used them to illuminate compasses on dark nights. Children in old villages believed the glow marked paths to hidden treasures. But the truth is simpler and more beautiful. These glowing mushrooms are nature-esquire reminders that even decay has its own form of beauty. Life doesn't simply end in the forest, it transforms, glows softly, and becomes part of the nighttime tapestry. Standing there, surrounded by bioluminescent patches, warm air pockets, drifting earthy aromas, and gentle mammal movements, you realize that nighttime forests are not dark at all. They are filled with layers of life, scent, warmth, and light, subtle, quiet, and endlessly calming. As the night deepens, the forest's 13th truth begins to stir in the branches, where the wind plays softly with the leaves. This fact belongs to the nighttime breezes, those gentle, guiding currents that glide between tree trunks and weave through the undergrowth as if they are invisible dancers moving in unison. Unlike the harsh winds of the daytime, the nighttime forest breezes are slow, cool, and whisper light. They do not bend branches violently or scatter leaves in chaotic swirls. Instead, they move like sighs, touching each leaf lightly enough to create the faintest rustle. These breezes carry the scents of the forest, the sweetness of blooming night flowers, the damp smell of moss, the earthy aroma of rich soil. As they move through the forest, they blend these scents into a soft perfume that fills the nighttime air. You might notice it as a cool breath passing over your cheek or a gentle stirring of nearby leaves. For the animals of the forest, these breezes are messengers. They deliver quiet, signal-telling deer where fresh water lies, guiding owls toward rustling prey, alerting small mammals of distant danger. But they do all of this without urgency. The wind moves slowly, offering information in long, drifting whispers. Sometimes the breezes carry faint sounds from far across the forest, soft calls, distant footsteps, the shifting of branches. These sounds float through the air so lightly that they barely reach your ears. It feels as though the forest is speaking in a language made from breath, motion, and Rusala, language that requires stillness to understand. There's a serenity to the nighttime wind that makes the forest feel alive yet restful, awake yet peaceful. Each gust feels like a lullaby written by the trees themselves, performed not in words but in gentle movements. And just as the breeze softens and fades into the deeper night, the forest reveals its 14th truth, one written not in the air but in the stillness beneath your feet. The forest floor, with its thick blanket of leaves, moss, roots, and soil, becomes a quiet world of its own once darkness falls. During the day, it feels busy, alive with insects, scurrying creatures, the thud of footsteps, the chatter of birds above. But at night, the forest floor becomes soft and hushed, as if it has wrapped itself in a natural quilt. Much of this quiet comes from the layers of fallen leaves. They cushion the ground like a soft carpet, absorbing sound and preventing noise from traveling. A deer can step across them without a whisper. A fox can trot silently between trees. Even larger mammals find their steps muted by the forest's natural padding, allowing the nighttime woods to maintain its deep calm. The moss adds another layer of softness, holding dew in its tiny green structures, giving the ground a cool, soothing sensation. In this quiet environment, small creatures feel safe enough to emerge. Mice nibble seeds beside tree roots. Snails glide slowly across damp earth. Tiny frogs shift between stones, their movements careful and unhurried. They navigate this soft world as if it were made for silence. Nothing rushes, nothing disturbs. Everything simply moves within the rhythm of the night's gentle heartbeat. This stillness makes you aware of how alive the ground truly is. Even the soil breathes, releasing the scent of minerals, moisture, and living organisms. The forest floor, beneath its calm surface, is constantly working, breaking down leaves, feeding roots, supporting life. But it does all of this quietly, patiently, allowing the nighttime forest its precious stillness. And finally, as the forest floor sighs into rest, the 15th truth of the night reveals itself high in the canopy. This one belongs to the tree, where the branches weave together into a sheltering roof that changes with the movement of the moonlight. During the day, the treetops filter the sun, but at night, they become a delicate net built from shadows and silver beams. The moon threads through the branches, scattering faint patterns of light that shimmer gently on the forest below. In some parts of the forest, the treetops hold the moonlight in place, letting it rest softly on leaves as if each leaf were a tiny mirror. In other places, the branches sway slowly in the breeze, causing the moonlight to drift across the forest floor like pale waves. It feels as if the moon itself is breathing through the trees, exhaling cool light that settles on your skin. Owls perch quietly in these branches, blending with the darkness, opening and closing their wide eyes as they study the forest below. Squirrels curl into their nests, tails wrapped around themselves like blankets. Vines sway gently, brushing against bark, moving to the rhythm of the night. The canopy is where the night feels tallest, where The forest rises upward, reaching for the sky with its dreaming limbs. Standing beneath it, you feel sheltered, embraced by the leaves, part of the quiet world that sleeps and wakes in cycles older than human memory. And so, the forest continues its nighttime song-soft movements. Glowing fungi, drifting breezes, sleeping treetops, and tiny creatures wandering across the gentle earth. Each fact blends into the next, composing a world of patient motions and peaceful mysteries. A world where night doesn't bring fear, but rest. A world where everything slows, softens, and becomes a quiet dream. As the forest moves deeper into its nighttime rhythm, a new layer begins to stir, one so subtle that you would never notice it unless you stood perfectly still and let your senses soften the way you might relax before falling asleep. The deeper hours of the night carry a kind of calm that wraps around every branch, every leaf, every stone. This is the time when the forest feels almost weightless, as if it is floating in its own quietness, suspended between darkness and dreams. It is here, in this tranquil hour, that another truth of the nighttime world begins revealing itself, not with sound, not with light, but with gentle motion drifting through the trees. Fact 16 belongs to the bats that weave through the night sky, the silent acrobats of the forest darkness. In the daytime, bats tuck themselves into hidden crevices, hanging upside down like sleeping shadows, wrapped in the folds of their wings. But when night comes, they awaken with slow stretches, unfurling their delicate membranes and letting the cool air wash over them. Their wings, thin enough to let light pass through, are stronger and more precise than they seem. When they lift off from their roosts, they glide into the forest like floating pieces of night stitched together with moonlight. Bats do not flap noisily. Their wings push through the air with a softness that barely disturbs the stillness. Their movement is guided by sound waves. Too high for human ears' tiny whispers, they send out into the world, which bounce back to them as echoes, painting invisible maps of the forest in the darkness. Each bat sees with sound, feeling every tree trunk, every thin branch, every fluttering moth in the air. They dart through the forest using these sound pictures, performing a nighttime ballet that is almost hypnotic to imagine a swirl of graceful turns and silent swoops, all done without a single collision. And yet, bats are never afraid of the darkness. They embrace it. They claim it as their home. They feed on insects that rise under the canopy, sometimes dozens in a minute, moving so swiftly that their path becomes a blur of gentle curves. Their presence keeps the forest in balance, ensuring that the buzzing night does not overwhelm the quiet world below. But beyond their purpose, there is something deeply calming about the way bats move fast, yet flowing, precise, yet If you could watch them for hours, your mind would start to match their rhythm, drifting in slow waves through the night, peaceful and steady. And when the bats disappear across the treetops, the forest settles again, as if sighing in appreciation for these silent guardians. The night deepens, and with it, a new truth reveals itself this time, not from the creatures that fly, but from the trees themselves. Fact 17 belongs to the slow, almost invisible movements of branches swaying in the night. During the day, the forest canopy feels alive and loud, trembling with the chatter of birds, the scurry of squirrels, the rustle of sunlight moving across leaves. But at night, the treetops soften into a quieter version of themselves. When the breeze brushes past them, The leaves respond with delicate rustles, gentle enough to sound like the hushed turning of pages in a giant book. The entire forest seems to lean into this sound, allowing the movement of the branches to guide its peaceful tone. These sways are not strong, not restless, not chaotic. They are small, slow, rhythmic motions, tiny arcs of movement that make the trees appear to breathe. It is said that trees release more carbon dioxide at night, resting as they shift into a slower cycle. Perhaps this is why their motion at night feels less like a physical sway and more like a long, relaxed exhalation. When the wind passes over them, it feels as though the trees are whispering softly to one another, sharing secrets of the night in accents shaped by leaf and branch. Sometimes the breeze will gather at the canopy's edge and swirl downward, forming a cool spiral that glides to the forest floor. This gentle descent carries the scent of leaves high above, fresh, green, tinged with a hint of moonlit dew. It feels like the forest offering a small gift to anyone who stands beneath the towering trees. In that moment, under the calm sway of the branches, you feel connected to something ancient and slow and alive. Something that has stood through countless nights, countless breezes, countless quiet hours, exactly like this one. And just when you think the forest could not become any softer, any quieter, any calmer, the 18th truth emerges from the darkest corners of the truth hidden in the tiny footsteps of small mammals who begin their nighttime journeys. Fact 18 belongs to the gentle world of nighttime foragers. The hedgehogs, the shrews, the field mice that move through the forest like drifting whispers. These creatures live close to the ground, where fallen leaves create a soft blanket that mutes all sound. During the day, they hide in burrows or beneath thick vegetation, avoiding the brighter world. But at night, under the protective cover of darkness, they wander freely, exploring the forest floor at a slow, unhurried pace. A hedgehog might shuffle between roots, its tiny feet pressing barely noticeable patterns into the damp soil. A mouse might pause beneath a mushroom cap, sniffing the air with delicate movements that quiver softly. A shrew might slip through grasses like water moving through reeds. Their footsteps are light, their breath even lighter. They make the night feel as though it has its own pulse, quiet, tiny, full of patient motion. These small creatures are careful and observant. They navigate by scent, by vibration, by the gentle clues the forest leaves for them. A change in wind might carry the smell of berries. A subtle rustle might warn them of larger animals. A slight shift in temperature might guide them toward open clearings or deeper cover. Everything about their movements aligns with the forest's calm at night, their slow routines blending seamlessly into the restful atmosphere. And there is something deeply soothing about knowing that even in the quietest hours, life continues in these small, soft footsteps that do not disturb, but instead add to the peaceful fabric of the night. As these gentle foragers continue their careful wanderings, another sleepy secret rises from the cold earth, a truth shaped not by motion, but by stillness. Fact 19 belongs to the dew that gathers on leaves, stones, and branches as the night grows cooler. Dew does not fall like rain. It arrives silently, forming bead by bead, drop by drop, as moisture in the air settles onto the earth. At first, it appears as a faint shimmer in the moonlight, a light layer of silver that dusts the forest's surfaces. But as the hours pass, the shimmer thickens into droplets that cling to the edges of leaves. They catch the moonlight like tiny crystals, each one reflecting a miniature world within its curve. If you move slowly enough through the forest, you can see dew forming right before your eyes, small beads emerging on moss, then growing heavier, then sliding softly onto the ground. This movement is so gentle, so patient, that it feels like the earth itself is breathing moisture upward to meet the cool night air. Dew makes everything softer. Leaves bend under its weight in quiet arcs. Spiderwebs glow with silver strands. The forest floor glistens as if sprinkled with diamonds. For the animals that wander at night, dew becomes a source of water, a way to drink without searching for streams. A small frog might pause to touch its tongue to a single drop. A bird waking briefly before dawn might sip from a wet branch. The dew becomes a silent offering, nourishing everything without a sound. With dew settling like a cool blanket across the forest, the night moves deeper into its quiet cycle, preparing to reveal another truth, this one shaped by gentle voices carried through the dark. Fact 20 belongs to the distant, echoing calls that sometimes drift across the nighttime forest. These soft hoots of owls, faraway croaks of frogs, the delicate chirps of crickets rise and fall in a rhythm that feels almost like a lullaby. They do not disturb the night, they enrich it. Each sound creates a layer of calm, weaving a peaceful tapestry of nighttime communication that fills the forest with a sense of presence, never noise. An owl's hoot might echo softly through the treetops, bouncing between trunks with deep resonance. Frogs might call to one another from hidden ponds, their voices blending into a rolling chorus that moves like water. Insects might create long, shimmering waves of soft sound, each tiny body contributing to a unified, gentle hum. Even the occasional rustle from a distant creature moves through the forest like a whisper that fades as soon as it arrives. These nighttime sounds are never frantic or hurried. They follow the slow rhythm of the forest's heartbeat. Each call is spaced apart, leaving room for stillness to fill the air. The silence between sounds becomes just as important as the sounds themselves. Quiet breathing space that makes everything feel balanced. To listen to the nighttime forest is to listen to a symphony built from calmness, echoing through trees that stand like patient guardians of the night. And when these voices fade, leaving the forest in deepest quiet, the 21st truth emerges softly, gently, like a dream, forming at the edge of sleep. Fact 21 belongs to the moonlit clearings found deep within the forest, open spaces where the trees step back and allow the sky to pour its light directly onto the earth. At night, these clearings glow softly, illuminated by the gentle silver of the moon. The light spreads across the grass, reflecting in dewdrops, making the ground shimmer like a field of stars laid at your feet. In these moonlit spaces, the forest feels open and safe. The darkness retreats just enough to reveal the gentle outlines of flowers, stones, and small paths. The air cools more quickly here, washing over your skin like a calm breath. Animals enter these clearings quietly, stepping with care, pausing to listen, moving slowly so as not to disturb the stillness. A deer might wander across its quiet steps, forming arcs in the wet grass. A rabbit might nibble calmly, unhurried under the soft glow. Even the breeze seems to move differently. Here's lower, cooler, brushing gently against the tall grass. If you stand in one of these clearings long enough, the moon's light feels almost like a companion, something gentle and steady, something that watches over the sleeping forest with a soft, patient gaze. In its glow, you feel both small and comforted, part of a world that has existed quietly for countless nights, unchanged, serene, and always welcoming to those who find it. And so, the forest continues its slow, restful songbeds, drifting through the night, swaying softly, small creatures moving gently beneath the leaves. Dew forming in silver beads, calls echoing in distant rhythms, and moonlit clearings, glowing like peaceful islands in the darkness. Each fact blends softly into the next, creating a dreamlike world where everything moves with calm purpose. Everything whispers instead of speaks, and everything invites you to breathe slowly, deeply, peacefully, just like the forest itself. Fact 22 belongs to the slow-breathing trees, those silent giants whose entire rhythm changes once the daylight fades. During the day, trees release oxygen in a steady, generous flow, interacting with sunlight in their usual, busy routine. But when night falls, the forest trees shift into a softer pattern. Their leaves settle. Their movement stills. Their internal systems begin to quiet down into something that feels very close to sleep. This nighttime rhythm is subtle, so subtle, that if you place your hand on the bark of a large tree, you might feel a faint pulsing or a gentle internal shifting, like a sleeping breath moving through wood. Trees actually drink more deeply during the night. Their roots pull water upward more steadily in the dark, when evaporation is low and the forest air cools. This slow, upward draw creates an internal hush, a faint tension in the wood, like the deep, peaceful inhale of a giant resting after a long day of sunlight. Some scientists have even recorded that trees slightly lower their branches at night, as if relaxing their shoulders. When dawn approaches, they lift again. It is a tiny movement, barely a few centimeters, but in the stillness of the forest, it feels like witnessing the heartbeat of the woods. Standing among these slow-breathing trees at night, you feel a calm unlike anything else. It is as if the entire forest is exhaling around you, releasing the last bits of heat and sound, settling into a restful pose beneath the moonlit sky. Fact 23 belongs to the soft-footed predators who roam the forest floor with ghost-like silence. They are not hunting in a frenzy. Night in the forest demands patience. These animals drift like shadows, pausing often, listening deeply to the faint rustle of a mouse, the flutter of an insect, or the tiny heartbeat of a frog in the grass. Their pace is unhurried, almost meditative. A fox might take 20 minutes to cross a small clearing, stopping every few steps to listen. A civet might circle a tree 3 times before climbing. These movements create almost no disturbance. To an observer, it feels like the predators are not walking at all, but gliding between patches of darkness with a grace shaped by thousands of quiet nights. And the peaceful part is this: when these predators are not hunting, they are incredibly calm. A fox may sit on a rock under the moon for long stretches, simply watching the trees sway. A wild cat may curl beneath a fallen log and softly blink at the stars. Night brings out their gentlest sides, showing a world of slow, graceful motion rather than chaos or alarm. Fact 24 belongs to the quiet rain that sometimes falls in the forest at night, even when the sky holds no clouds. This is not real rain, but a phenomenon called drip rain or canopy rain. During the day, Leaves absorb moisture, mist, and dew. At night, when temperatures drop, that collected water begins to fall drop by slow drop from thousands of leaves above. The sound is soft, rhythmic, and incredibly soothing. It is not the loud tapping of a storm. It is a scattered pattern of tiny droplets falling at their own pace. A drip here, a drip there, a soft patter on leaves, a gentle splash on moss. You can stand in a forest at night during dry weather and still hear this delicate rainfall surrounding you, like nature whispering in slow motion. Sometimes it can continue for hours, sounding like distant whispers or soft footsteps. If you place your hand on a rock, you'll feel little beads of moisture landing and rolling down. If you stand beneath a large tree, you may feel a cool drop land on your hair or shoulder. It is refreshing, calming, and strangely comforting, like the forest cleaning itself before dawn arrives. This nighttime drip gives the forest a restful rhythm, like a natural lullaby created from thousands of tiny, perfect notes falling from the leaves. Fact 25 belongs to the moonlit paths, those faint, silver-washed trails that appear only at night. During the day, these paths look ordinary, sometimes even messy, cluttered with roots, fallen twigs, and uneven soil. But under the moon, everything transforms. The forest floor seems to glow in soft, silvery sheets. The path becomes clearer, gentler, almost carved by light itself. Animals instinctively follow these moonlit highways. Deer move silently across them. Owls perch beside them. Insects crawl in shimmering lines along the illuminated soil. Even the wind seems to travel differently along these glowing trails, weaving between the grass and branches with a cooler, slower touch. And if you walk on one of these paths at night, you feel the forest open itself to you, not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a gentle, inviting hush. The shadows move softly. The leaves shimmer faintly. The path feels alive, as though guiding you deeper into the calm heart of the woods. Moonlit paths create a sense of quiet direction, a sleepy journey through the cool darkness. They make even the deepest forest feel welcoming, peaceful, and dreamlike. And so, the nighttime forest reveals its final secret, not in a single fact, but in the way all these pieces blend together into a world that feels half real, half dream. The slow-breathing trees, the soft-footed predators, the drifting drip rain, the moonlit paths glowing gently through the darkness, and every creature, from the smallest insect to the tallest deer, moving in rhythms shaped by calm, patient night. Nothing in the nighttime forest is rushed. Nothing is loud. Nothing tries to steal attention. Everything leans toward stillness, toward a quiet balance, where every sound is a whisper and every movement feels like a lullaby woven into the leaves. Night in the forest is not frightening. It is soothing. It is alive. It is breathing. It wraps around you like a soft blanket stitched with moonlight, letting you feel the heartbeat of nature in its most peaceful form. And as the first hint of dawn begins to brighten the distant horizon, the forest does not wake abruptly. Instead, it slowly shifts like a dream, gently turning into morning, leaving you with the calm, lingering memory of the sleepy, magical world you just walked through.